So in this video we are going to look at simplifying expressions which involve division. So I like to always start off basic. So I'm going to start off by writing a fraction because it's really important to understand that 10 divided by 5 can also be written as a fraction. Yes, we've got a top-heavy fraction here. However, we can still cancel it down in the same way. We've got 10 and 5 and both of those numbers go into 5. So we're ending up with 2 over 1, which is a whole number. So our final answer would be 2. Similarly, we can look at it the other way round. If we were going to do 5 divided by 10, we can write that as a fraction, 5 over 10, and we can cancel that down to become 1/2. Now let's look at it when we've got coefficients and variables. So in other words, we've got algebra. So I'm just going to look at my first example. Let's do 4xy divided by 12x. Now, let's first of all look at the fact that we've got 4 on the numerator and a 12 at the denominator. So we always deal with the coefficients first. Cancel it down as though you would a regular fraction. So both of these numbers can be divided by 4, leaving us with 1 over 3. Now let's have a look at the variables now. We have an x on the numerator and an x on the denominator. If we cancel those out, x divided by x gives us 1. And then there's the y. Well, y doesn't have anything to cancel with, so it stays. Our final answer is quantity of 1y, so y goes on the numerator, divided by 3. Alright, let's look at a little bit more of a trickier example. This one I'm going to put a negative sign in. So let's look at minus 8ab squared divided by minus 16a squared b. So the first thing I'm going to do is write it as a fraction. So let's write it exactly the same, but with a fraction line. Okay, now, first thing we're going to do is identify the fact that this is negative here and this is negative here. So what happens when we divide negatives? It becomes a positive answer. Now I'm going to cancel that down, so both 8 and 16 can be divided by 8. So that's going to give us the 1 and that's going to give us the 2. Then we move along to look at the a's. A will cancel out with one of these a's, but remember this is a squared, which means a times a. So we can only get rid of 1. Okay, so I'm just going to cancel that. Similarly with b, we've got a b squared here, which is b times b, and a b at the bottom. So therefore, only one of those b's can cancel out, and we're left with one b at the top. So writing the whole answer, we're left with 1b, or just b, we don't normally write the 1, so I'll just rub that out, divided by 2a. Now sometimes if it does get a bit trickier and we've got something that we'll look at and we think, oh, I need to just work out how many I've got on the top and how many I've got on the bottom. Does it go on the top? Does it go on the bottom? It's a good idea to write it out in expanded form. So I'm going to write the numerator out in expanded form. So I've got 2 times x. Remember x squared is x times x, multiplied by y, multiplied by z. And I'm going to divide all that by the denominator, which is 8 times x times y. Okay, now, remember, one quantity can cancel with another quantity. So we start with the fraction 2 over 8. So we start with 2 over 8, and we simplify those. Now, both of those can be divided by 2. Oops, let's move that up. So dividing that by 2 gives us 1, and dividing that by 2 gives us 1/4. So we're left with 1 over 4. X cancels out, and a y will cancel out. Now what we're left here with is on the numerator is 1, quantity of x, z, and on the denominator we're left with 4. So that gives us 1xz over 4.